Well, Jerome from Washington, D.C. This is Intro to Music Production Week 3 at Coursera.org. And this is Submix Explained. How and why to create a submix. Why would a producer create a submix and how would he use it? To organize, I'll show you how to do a bus setup and auxiliary setup. And then we'll discuss a submix's uses. And in this example, I'll show you how to use it for a verse, for the chorus on the verse. And then we'll go over the reflection. I'll just kind of give you a quick rundown on how it's done. So, just to define what a submix is a grouping of instruments or tracks which are sent to a single auxiliary track. The auxiliary track can now be mixed with other groups of instruments or tracks or other submixes. So creating submixes allows you to have control of multiple groups of tracks with just a few auxiliary tracks. Okay, before we get started, we need to get organized. You should be thinking about what type of feel do you want to give the mix. Other things you could think about is what parts of the composition you want to stand out. And in this case, I want to separate the chorus from other parts of the chorus because I want to give that a good feel. With that in mind, we need to do two things. First thing we need to do is create a bus and properly name it. And the second thing we'll do is create an auxiliary track and properly name that also. Submixes can help when mixing audio, and in this case for a hook. What I want to do with the chorus is to give it a nice wide pan feel and add reverb and stuff to it. So, and I want to mix that separately from the lead singer. So, submixes can help me while mixing the audio, um, for the hook. So, let's go forward. Okay, so this is done in the Audio Bundles window. It's accessed from the Studio menu, or you could just do Shift U, and that should bring up like a bus window. So you go to Bundles, or you press Shift U, and then you'll find the Buses tab, and then you could change the title by either option clicking or just double clicking on the. And you can see here with the Studio Bundles, that's a quick screenshot. And this pop-up window comes up here, and you just double click in this section right here, bus 1, and I did two of them. First one I called drums, and then Sing J. It was basically, it should be chorus, but I just labeled it Sing J bus. Okay, now we want to do the auxiliary setup. In order to do that, you want to go to Project, Add Track, and then go to Auxiliary Track, and then click on that. What you want to do is assign the track output to the stereo output you're using for all the tracks. For example, I'm using my Mode 2 and I'll do main out 1 and 2. And then here's a trick. You want to assign the input to that mono bus that you just created. In this case, I use SingJ bus. And then you have created your submix right there. So if you want to create other submixes, you go ahead and do that on additional tracks. So here's a screenshot of how it's done. You go to Project, Add Track, Add Auxiliary Track, and then once it's created here, you double click on the name and you can change it. You can see here where it says SingJ Submix. And so just to reflect, the submix is a grouping of instruments, tracks into a single auxiliary track for the overall control of the group. It's created basically by changing the output of each track in a group to a bus, particular bus output, preferably one that you named. And then you want to add an auxiliary track and select the bus track that you just created as the input and output to a stereo output via your Mode 2. It's my SingJ submix created here. And then I could add different effects and so forth to this track. Thank you folks for taking time to looking at the lesson. And it's Willard Jerome with Coursera. Have a good one.